Hello, and welcome to the Vancouver Rowing Club's instructional video on how to pump out your holding tank safely, efficiently, and according to environmental friendly rules. Here we are on A dock, about 3/4 of the way down. This is the shed that holds all our hoses and the pump out station in general. I'm gonna open this up for you. Great. Here we have the pump out buttons, the controls, 2 different lengths hoses, and all the adapters that you're going to need. We're going to cover those in just a second. First thing you want to do before you pump out your boat is grab yourself some neoprene gloves for health reasons. If you don't have them, make sure you wash your hands very thoroughly afterwards. So in the shed, we have a number of things. In this here, you have your control. And on this control, there's actually only a start button, which you use to start the suction. Eventually, the timer will run itself out and it'll stop in itself. So when you're ready to go, you'll be hitting this green one and you allow some time for the suction to be created in the hose. If there's any questions you have, you can always refer to the list of instructions we have on the inside of the door. We have 2 different length hoses. We have the shorter one if your boat is close to the pump out station, or the valve that's closest to your boat. If it's close, you use the short one. If it's far away, there's a longer hose over here. And on this one, you'll see the 2 adapters we can get to when we get to your boat. 2 different sizes. Make sure you choose the right one for your boat. After you've chosen the right size hose for your situation, you just go ahead and wheel it down to your boat. Okay, now that we've come out to a pump out station, the closest one to your boat, it looks a lot like this. It's got a valve here for an open and close, and it's got the attachment here. Now at the dock end, we have this connection, and you'll know the connection that's supposed to go to the dock is it's very close to a one-way valve that looks like this. And on this one-way valve, it actually, if you look closely, there's an arrow showing which direction the sewage will be flowing, and that should be flowing towards the dock, towards this connector end. You take this connector end, it's a very simple cam cleat, put it on like that. These will be forward, and then to lock it into place, you close both of them securely. And now this end is ready to go. Okay, and here we pull up to the boat. And on this boat, the pump out section is on the very bow, which is handy for us today. And at this point, you're going to find out which is the right size fitting for your boat. Too big? Ah, lovely. I want to have that nice and snug. Now that is ready to accept this. And you also know which end is closest should be on your boat by the ball valve. This is the end that goes to the boat. 1 up, 2 up. Now that we're all hooked up, before we go and start the pumps, the suction, you want to make sure that all your ball valves are closed. This handle, when it's sticking out and it's not lined up with the direction of the hose, means it's closed. This is closed, and you also want to make sure you left the one at the dock that you hooked up to in the cross position, in the closed position as well. Okay, now we're back at the pump out station. We're ready to start up the pump suction. One thing that's important is by pressing the green button, you're going to start it up, but you need to allow at least 5 minutes for the suction to be created in the system. This will remind you here, it's also on the instructions. So all we need to do here, all valves are closed. The red light is on. That means the system is pressurizing. Okay, here we are back at the dock terminal. Everything's hooked up. All ball valves are still closed. We've been to the pump out station. We've pressed the green button. The red light has come on to let us know that the system is functioning. We don't hear any pumping suction, but we know it's working because the red light is on. Before we turn any of these valves, before we do anything else, you want to make sure that on your boat, if you have a Y valve, one to a holding tank and one to overboard, that you've turned it and left it on the holding tank. And the first thing we want to open is the dock station here. There you go. That being lined up with the hose is in the open position. Okay, here we are back at the boat, back at the ball valve at the connection. When we open this up, it's important to open it slowly. Don't crank it open all at once. Let the suction create slowly, all right? And what we'll be doing is we'll be listening for suction noise through the air valve. It's right here on this boat. You should locate where yours is on yours, okay? So, slowly, we're gonna open this and listen for the sucking action. I can feel that already starting. Slowly, slowly. So while we're pumping this boat out, I'm not really hearing a lot of suction from the valve, but just to make sure that we're cleaning things out, if I put my hand on it, you can feel suction. You can feel that there's stuff going through the hose. Now, if for some reason the pump stops pumping and you don't feel any vibration in the hose or hear any suction, this could mean that there's a temporary holding tank that the septic goes to. It could be full. This pump will shut itself down. You'll see that it's turned off. All you have to do is wait for 20 minutes. And you go back to the shed, press the button. If the red light goes on, you're good to go. If it doesn't, give it another 20 minutes. If it doesn't go on by the second or third try, there may be something wrong with the whole system, and you'll want to abandon the project for the day and definitely let the office know, and they'll take care of it for you. Okay, so we're not hearing any more suction. I'm not feeling anything going through the hose. To me, that means the tank's empty. Now, we're going to reverse the process, closing this valve first. That's closed to this end. Okay, we've closed the valve on the boat. Now we're going to close the valve on the dock. It's all shut down. And now we want to unhook it from the boat. The hose, and what we need to do is we need to put this end into the water and turn on the dock and give it about, I don't know, 2 minutes of water running through and cleaning out the hose. So I'm going to take this back over to the dock where I control the ball valve there. So now we're back at the terminal. You want to open this before you stick it in the water because you won't be able to once it's in there. It's open, but the dock one is still closed. We're going to put this in the water. And we're going to open up the dock. You can do this slowly as well. There we go. And now what we're doing is we're running fresh seawater through the hose, through the system, and making sure the system's clean for the next guy. Okay, so now we've been running fresh seawater for about a minute. And we're going to close this off, and we're going to basically shut down the whole system now. That's off. Cam cleat's off. Hose is ready to go back to the shed. Okay, we've disconnected the dock end. We want to make sure we turn this and put that on the dolly for the next guy. That's back where it started from. And we look at our pump. We notice the red light is off. That means the timer is off and it stopped pumping. Oh, by the way, when I was looking at these hoses this morning, deciding which one I wanted, I looked at the shorter length and I noticed somebody thought it was okay to leave this like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the hose clamps off this end. I'm going to cut a nice even end on this, put the ball valve back in, put the hose clamps back on, and have it nice and ready for the next guy. If this happens to you, feel free to do the same. Thank you very much, and I hope you've enjoyed our little instructional video on the pump out, and wish you all well and fair winds out there.